Welcome to Energy Today, your source for insights into the energy sector, covering production, regulation, and the vital transition to sustainable energy and what it means for your daily life. I'm Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada. Today we'll delve into a crucial topic in the energy landscape: conversion of vehicles to compressed natural gas. But first, here's the latest energy news.
Good evening and welcome. Here are the stories making headlines in the sector. The federal government has officially begun the sale of crude oil to Dangote refinery and other local refineries using the Nigerian currency, the Naira, effective from the 1st of October 2024. The announcement was made by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, through a formal statement. This development follows a decision made by the Federal Executive Council, FEC, in July, approving the sale of crude to the 650,000 barrels per day refinery and other domestic facilities. In a post shared on the ministry's official X account, the government confirmed the start of the crude oil sales in Naira, emphasizing that this move aligns with the FEC's directive. The federal government has taken a bold step to boost gas utilization across the country by signing a contract through the Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund with 6 companies for an investment of 122 billion naira. This initiative is aimed at enhancing gas penetration nationwide. The companies benefiting from this investment include Ibile Oil and Gas, Asico Energy Holdings, Femadec Energy, Rolling Energy, Insik Oil and Gas, and Topline Limited. The funds will be channeled towards expanding gas infrastructure across Nigeria, with contributions coming from all marketing companies and penalties paid by firms for gas flaring. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Mr. Ekberigbe Eko, described this agreement as a historic milestone, highlighting its role in transforming the midstream gas value chain and supporting Nigeria's transition to cleaner energy.
This event is a reflection of His Excellency's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's effort and enthusiasm to improve and foster business relationship between the public and private sector. We are also demonstrating the critical role that collaboration plays accomplishing the energy sector development in our country. Today's mark a significant milestone as we formally enter into agreement with 6 business entities that have been screened to obtain government equity participation under the Midstream Downstream Infrastructure Fund. These promoters, who have been carefully chosen in compliance with the MDGI investment policy statement and the Petroleum Industrial Act 2021, deserve our congratulations, since they have demonstrated the ability and commitment in supporting us to promote gas to the end users. The Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund stands at the forefront of our strategy to modernize Nigeria's gas infrastructure. It has been designed as a catalyst for investment aimed at bridging gaps in the gas value chain by ensuring the financing and delivery of critical projects.
In a related development, the federal government has announced the removal of value-added tax on several critical energy products, including diesel, compressed natural gas, and liquefied petroleum gas. Finance Minister Mr. Wale Edun made the announcement, stating that the decision is part of a broader strategy to bolster energy security and accelerate Nigeria's shift to cleaner energy sources. The VAT Modification Order 2024 is expected to make Nigeria's energy sector more competitive while easing the burden on consumers facing rising energy costs. Additionally, the government has rolled out new tax incentives for deep offshore oil and gas production, aiming to attract global investors and position Nigeria as a top destination for energy investments. Meanwhile, on the continental front, African oil-producing nations are making strides to establish a $5 billion energy bank in Abuja next year. The project, which has already secured 45% of its required startup capital, is being spearheaded by Angola, Nigeria, and Ghana, with the goal of bridging the funding gap left as traditional investors shift focus to low-carbon energy alternatives. Omar Farouk Ibrahim, Secretary General of the African Petroleum Producers Organization, APO, announced that the African Export-Import Bank has committed to supporting the project and has signed a Memorandum of Understanding to facilitate its establishment. These developments collectively signal the growing momentum towards cleaner energy solutions and sustainable economic growth in the region. And that's it for today's Energy Update.
Now let's dive into an exciting development in Nigeria's transportation sector, the conversion of vehicles to run on compressed natural gas, popularly known as CNG. Our guest today is the Director General of the National Automotive Design and Development Council, NADDC, Mr. Joseph Osanipin. The NADDC is established to transform Nigeria's automotive landscape. It's dedicated to enhancing local vehicle production and fostering innovation.
NADDC is National Automotive Design and Development Council. The act that established the council mandates us to come up with programs, initiatives, policies that will lead to the development and growth of auto industry in Nigeria. That's automotive industry in Nigeria. And in doing that, we have to come up with those policies. And part of the policies we have come up with is what is known as the Nigeria Automotive Industry Development Plan. That plan have about 7 pillars which are aimed to promote the industry. One of the pillars is investment promotion. And apart from investment promotion is also, we have one of the pillars that says we should create the market by coming up with policy that will encourage governments and individuals to patronize made in Nigerian vehicle. And that explains why we have Order 3 and Order 5 that encourage MDAs to promote and patronize made in Nigerian vehicle. Again, part of it is component development. Component development means, because if you look at it, a particular vehicle, any type of vehicle whatsoever, even electric vehicle has lesser parts, but ICE vehicle are the internal combustion engine vehicle, with a vehicle that is using PMS, AG, or even CNG. We get to that again. Those one are the internal combustion engine. Those one, for example, any internal combustion engine has nothing less than 3,000 parts. So these parts are what are come together, we call component parts. So we need to develop this area of component parts so that we will be able to contribute more to the building of a particular vehicle. Again, standard is part of the pillar, because we have to make sure that the standard, we meet the standard, we produce vehicle not only for Nigeria, but for that we meet international standard. So these are the pillars. And one of the pillars that I'm going to emphasize, I'm sure I will emphasize in the course of this interview or this interaction, is adoption. That's technology. That is adoption of new technology. So which is a new ways, a new technology is part of what we have as the pillar of NADDC.
You know, recently the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has been making significant strides in expanding the availability of compressed natural gas across Nigeria, committed to establishing 100 CNG stations nationwide, along with 3 liquefied natural gas stations in Ajaokuta, with over 12 CNG stations inaugurated in Abuja and Lagos. With all this investment in CNG, one would have to ask, how will converting from traditional fuels to CNG ease the financial burden on Nigerian motorists?
New technology requires us to come up with policies and the strategies for the adoption of the new technology. And not only that, transferring of that technology so that our people will understand the technology behind it. So the new one here now is the adoption of CNG. CNG means compressed natural gas. So this is where a gas is compressed to about 1% of its original volume. So it means that the pressure will be so high because you have compressed it to that level. And compressed natural gas is the CNG we are using is made up mainly of methane. And what that means is that the energy is cleaner than the PMS. And then what do we need to do for the people to be able to adopt it? First of all, I mentioned about technology transfer. We have to start training those that are going to do the conversion, because that's where you have to start from. We also have a program where we accredit the workshops that will carry out this training. We don't want it to just be any Dick and Larry that just come in, go and do the conversion, because we need to make sure that these things are done, the conversion are done properly and according to the laid down rules. And that's why we make sure that before you open your workshop to public, we first of all accredit you. You apply online through our website, www.naddc.gov.ng.
Now we know what the NADDC is about, but Nigerians will like to know. Does this include converting vehicles to run on CNG?
So when you do this, we inspect you and make sure that you have not only the workshop, the equipment to do the conversion, you have the knowledge, because we have to make sure that you have someone who has the mechanical knowledge, we have someone who have the electrical knowledge, and we have someone who have the digital knowledge, so that they will be able to work together and do the conversion. So this is what we have been doing and what we do again. As for in Nigeria, the president, about a year ago, the president inaugurated what is known as Presidential CNG Initiative. So through that initiatives, they've come up with a lot of kits that were given free of charge to National Union of Road Transport Worker, Road, Return, all those, and a lot of unions that has to do with fleet that owns fleets. So the fleet operator in Nigeria, because the government believe these people will have direct impacts on the populace, on the citizen, more than you and I. Because if a transporter has opportunity of converting, then you'll be able to reduce the cost of running a trip. And when you are able to reduce the cost, that means you can reduce the fare or the populace pay, because that means if we want to reduce the fare, we have to concentrate attention more on these fleet operators, not you and I. It will get to you and I, but for this now, government is doing everything to see that the transport operator, the transporters are able to get this kit free of charge.
Mr. Osanipi has shared some fascinating insights about government's effort to standardize and regulate CNG conversions across Nigeria, with over 120 certified workshops already in place. The initiative aims to ensure safety and efficiency while making CNG a viable alternative for drivers. So stay tuned as we continue to explore how this transition is shaping the future of transportation in Nigeria. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Energy Today. We'd also love to hear from you. What's your take on these rising issues? Feel free to call us on 0706 533 1003 or send an email to energytoday24@gmail.com. If you're just joining us, we've been having an insightful discussion with Mr. Joseph Osanipi, the Director General of the National Automotive Design and Development Council, NADDC. He's been guiding us through the complexities of converting vehicles from traditional fuels to compressed natural gas. As part of the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, the government is offering free conversions at designated centers across the country, significantly reducing fuel costs for drivers. With over 20,000 conversion kits available and a commitment to establishing CNG refueling stations. So, what's the public's response to the Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, particularly among commercial vehicle operators?
The capacity determines, number one, the kind of kit you are going to use. One. And number two is determine the kind of cylinder you are going to. That's the volume of the cylinder. Because if, for me, I may decide that I need a cylinder that's like 60 kg. Some vehicle take cylinder of 100. So depend on the size of the cylinder. The bigger the cylinder, the higher the cost. So all these things determine the cost. Having said that, the cost may range from something like 450 to 800 to 1 point something million, depend on the type of the vehicle. But having said this, this is the cost, this is the initial cost of converting. That cost can be recouped. If you are a transporter, the cost can be recouped within 2 to 3 months. If you are not a transporter, like you and I, the cost can be recouped within 8 to 12 months, depending on how often you use your vehicle. I was in Ekiti over the weekend, and somebody drove a Camry of 2 point something capacity from Abuja and covered 344 kilometers. He actually spent about 9,000 Naira to fuel the gas from Abuja to Ado Ekiti. This will have cost him 48,000 Naira if he used PMS. So you can do the mathematics and see that this is the difference is huge. So if you are going to be going to cover that trip, that distance, let's say twice a month or thrice a month, it means within a short period of time, you will recoup the cost of conversion. So to me, it's no brainer with this. That's the area of cost. You mentioned area, but there are other benefits that are even more important than the cost. And the first one is the cleaner environment. You see, when you use PMS burn and generate this emission, the carbon emission. But CNG, the emission is very, very low. Very, very, you may not even notice it. It's very, very low. And that means we have a cleaner environment. Health is wealth. So when you know what cleaner environment can do to your health, you now know that it's far, far better to use CNG. And apart from that, we have gas in abundant volume air in Nigeria, far, far more than we have crude oil. So gas is the best way to go. Because as at today, Nigeria destroy almost 60% of our gas. You either return it back to the ground or we flare it. So which means 60% of, nothing less than 50% of the gas we produce in Nigeria have been waste. So we can convert this waste to wet by using CNG.
There are several questions bordering on the mind of Nigerians in the usage of CNG-powered vehicles. For instance, the benefit, the cost of conversion kits, availability of CNG stations, and most importantly, safety in the usage of CNG-powered vehicles.
First of all, let me assure Nigerians that CNG vehicles are very, very safe. And I will tell why. First of all is the kind of kit we use. We make sure that those kits meet international standard, because first you look at the cylinder. The cylinder are more protected than even the tank that we put petrol. So the tank you put petrol are not that protected. In fact, they are more than 10 times more protected than that tank. So if there is impact on the cylinder and the impact on the tank, it's most likely the tank will have more damage and then be able to explode more than the cylinder. And number two, we also make sure that all the kits are certified by SON. And then, because nobody can bring kits to Nigeria if those kits are not certified. And apart from the certification of the kits, at the point of conversion, all those kits have to be, you have to confirm that those kits are already certified. And that process, if you don't do it, and you've used the wrong one, you may not be able to calibrate. Because you have to use the right kit, and then the right kit will have the software that will come with it. If you try to fake any of those kits, you will not be able to download the necessary software. I've seen it happening right here in Nigeria where conversion was done. In my presence, we tried to simulate something and you couldn't complete it because you will not be able to calibrate. And if you can't calibrate, it means nobody will sell gas to you at the gas station. So all these processes are in place. So we put in place this process to make sure that nobody cuts corner. So the kits are certified. The process of conversion are also certified, because if you jump any process, you will still fail at the calibration end, because the calibration is what you are going to use. That's to show that the whole process has been completed well. So that's one. And apart from that, in case there is vent, that is if the gas vents, the gas link and come out, the likelihood of explosion is 18 times less than the likelihood of petrol catching fire. So we put in place a lot of these processes, and that's why we are telling Nigerians this is safe. So sometime until you see it live, you may not believe. But by the time we did training, and some of the technicians that have issue believing that this was right, when they saw the cylinder, they look at the cylinder, they feel it, they saw the process, they see the way they were doing things before. Even to cut a hose, there is an equipment you are going to use to cut. You can't use, there's tools you are going to use to cut it, not your normal saw. We have launched what we call Nigerian gas vehicle monitoring system. So that monitoring system is going to be used by almost 5 different agencies or initiatives. The NADDC, the SON, because SON are going to certify those kits and then upload the certified kits that are coming to Nigeria to that system. The NADDC will accredit the workshop as well as accredit those people that are going to do the certification. So by the time you go through there, if you have been accredited, you go to the workshop, pick your workshop, and then any kit you pick, you go to that system and see whether that kit has already been uploaded by SON. By the time you see it there, you just pick that kit and use it. So when you finish using it, then you print. There is something a document you print and give to the vehicle owner, because the vehicle owner now will now carry the license of the cylinder as well as the one you give to them. So then road safety will have access to it, to that same monitoring system. From there, they can look at any vehicle that have the vehicle and know those ones that have been correctly converted.
And that's it on Energy Today. Thanks for staying with us. And don't forget to reach out with your questions or comments via our phone line or email. I'm Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada. And from me and the team, it's goodbye.